Dr. Olivia Bennett never expected to find love among the stars. As the lead xenobiologist aboard the International Space Station's New Horizon module, her primary focus was studying the peculiar biological samples brought back from Europa. The year was 2147, and humanity had finally established its first permanent research bases on Jupiter's ice-covered moon. The samples were fascinating, crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with an inner light, suggesting some form of bioluminescent life. But what truly captured Olivia's attention was the unexpected visitor who arrived on that fateful Tuesday morning. The proximity alert had blared through the station at 300 hours Earth Standard Time, jolting Olivia from her research. Through the reinforced windows of her lab, she watched in astonishment as an iridescent vessel, unlike anything in Earth's fleet, gracefully docked with their station. First contact protocols immediately went into effect. As the station's leading expert in xenobiology, Olivia was summoned to join the welcome committee. Her heart raced as she made her way to the airlock, her mind filled with equal parts excitement and trepidation. Station Commander Marcus Rodriguez stood beside her, his weathered face betraying none of the anxiety she knew he must be feeling. "Dr. Bennett, remember your training. No sudden movements. Maintain a non-threatening posture and let them take the lead in any interaction," Olivia finished, managing a small smile. "I remember, Commander." The airlock cycled, and Olivia held her breath as it opened to reveal their visitors. What stepped through defied all her expectations. The alien was tall, easily 7 feet, with a slender, ethereal build that seemed to shimmer with an inner luminescence similar to the Europa samples. Its skin was a pale, opalescent blue that shifted colors like the surface of a soap bubble. But what struck Olivia most were its eyes. 3 of them, arranged in a triangle pattern, each one a swirling galaxy of deep purple and silver. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice a melodious harmony that seemed to resonate within Olivia's chest. "I am Ambassador Zephyr of the Celestial Concordat. We have been watching your progress with great interest." As the station's translator worked to process the alien language, Olivia found herself inexplicably drawn to the ambassador. There was something in those galaxy eyes that spoke of ancient wisdom, of mysteries yet unexplored. Commander Rodriguez stepped forward to make the formal introductions, but Olivia barely heard him. She was too captivated by the way Ambassador Zephyr's skin rippled with colors that seemed to respond to emotional states. Right now, a pleased aquamarine that reminded her of tropical waters. The next few hours were a blur of diplomatic exchanges and preliminary scientific discussions. The Celestial Concordat, it seemed, had been studying humanity from afar for decades, waiting for the right moment to make contact. Their arrival now was prompted by humanity's successful establishment of the Europa research bases, a milestone that proved our species was ready for broader cosmic interaction. As the station's xenobiologist, Olivia was assigned to work closely with Ambassador Zephyr and their science officer, helping to establish protocols for biological data exchange. She couldn't help but notice how the ambassador's gaze seemed to linger on her whenever she spoke, how their skin would shift to a warm rose gold that none of the other crew members seemed to provoke. "Your understanding of xenobiology is impressive, Dr. Bennett," Zephyr commented during one of their meetings. "Your theories about the Europa samples are remarkably close to the truth." Olivia felt a flush of pride, and something else she couldn't quite name. "Thank you, Ambassador. Though I suspect our understanding is still quite primitive compared to your people's knowledge." Perhaps Zephyr's skin rippled with an amused silver tone. "But there is beauty in discovering things for oneself, is there not? We find humanity's curiosity refreshing." Over the next few weeks, Olivia spent countless hours working with the ambassador. They discussed everything from the fundamental principles of alien biology to the philosophical implications of their two species meeting. She found herself increasingly fascinated by Zephyr's perspective on the universe, so different from human views, yet somehow complementary. One evening, as they worked late in her lab, Zephyr asked her something unexpected. "Dr. Bennett, Olivia, do your people have a concept of souls?" The question caught her off guard. "Yes, many of us do. Though as a scientist, I tend to focus more on the physical aspects of life." "Why do you ask?" Zephyr's skin shifted to a deep, midnight blue she had never seen before. "Among my people, we believe that souls can recognize each other across any distance, even across species. We call it stellar resonance. It is rare, but when two beings encounter it..." They trailed off, their third eye fixing directly on her. Olivia's heart skipped a beat. "And have you experienced this resonance before?" "Never," Zephyr replied softly, their skin now pulsing with gentle waves of gold and silver. "Until now." The admission hung in the air between them, heavy with implication. Olivia knew she should maintain professional distance, should remember all her training about first contact protocols. But there was something in Zephyr's presence that made all those rules seem suddenly arbitrary. "I felt it too," she whispered, hardly believing her own boldness. "This connection. I thought I was imagining it." Zephyr moved closer, their bioluminescence casting a gentle glow over her face. "Your species is young, but your capacity for understanding is remarkable. You, especially, Olivia. You see beyond the surface, beyond the obvious differences between us." "The differences don't matter," Olivia found herself saying. "What matters is what we share. Curiosity, wonder, the desire to understand the universe and each other." Their first touch was electric. Literally, a small spark of static jumped between them as Zephyr's hand, with its long, elegant fingers, gently brushed against hers. Olivia gasped at the sensation, not just from the spark, but from the overwhelming feeling of rightness that accompanied it. "This is unprecedented," Zephyr murmured, their skin blazing with patterns of deep rose and gold. "There has never been a recorded case of stellar resonance between our species." "Then we'll be the first," Olivia replied with a smile. "After all, isn't that what science is about? Breaking new ground." But they both knew this was more than just scientific discovery. As they stood there in the quiet of the lab, Earth floating majestically in the window behind them, Olivia realized she was at the beginning of something extraordinary. A love story that would span not just continents, but solar systems. The implications were enormous. Their relationship would have diplomatic ramifications, would challenge both human and alien perspectives on interspecies connections. There would be obstacles to overcome, prejudices to face, and countless practical challenges to navigate. Yet as Zephyr's bioluminescence synchronized with her heartbeat, creating a beautiful dance of light and shadow in the lab, Olivia knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries in science and in life came from being brave enough to explore the unknown. Commander Rodriguez's voice came over the intercom, breaking the moment. "Dr. Bennett, the Council is requesting your preliminary report on biological compatibility studies." Olivia and Zephyr shared a look that contained volumes of unspoken understanding. They had work to do, diplomatic bridges to build, and scientific mysteries to unravel. But underneath it all, they had found something neither of them had expected, a connection that transcended the vast distances between their worlds. As they turned back to their work, Olivia caught Zephyr's third eye winking at her, their skin shimmering with barely contained joy. Perhaps this was what first contact was truly meant to be, not just the meeting of different species, but the discovery that love, in all its forms, truly was universal. The news of Olivia and Zephyr's growing relationship spread through the station faster than a hull breach. Within days, it seemed everyone had an opinion about the unprecedented partnership between a human scientist and an alien ambassador. Commander Rodriguez called Olivia into his office exactly 1 week after her first intimate moment with Zephyr. The station commander's usually stoic face was creased with concern as he gestured for her to take a seat. "Dr. Bennett, I hope you understand the position you've put me in," he began, running a hand through his graying hair. The celestial Concordat's arrival was already a delicate diplomatic situation. This personal development complicates matters significantly. Olivia sat straight-backed in her chair, maintaining her professional composure despite the flutter of anxiety in her stomach. With all due respect, Commander, my personal life shouldn't have any bearing on our diplomatic relations. In an ideal world, perhaps, Rodriguez sighed. But we both know this isn't just about your personal life. You're our lead xenobiologist, responsible for crucial research and first contact protocols. The Ethics Committee is already asking questions about potential conflicts of interest. Before Olivia could respond, her tablet chimed with an urgent message. The station's communications officer had intercepted transmissions from Earth. News of her relationship with Zephyr had leaked to the media. Within hours, every major news outlet on the planet would be running the story. The commander's tablet chimed with the same alert. He read it and his frown deepened. This is exactly what I was afraid of. The public reaction could jeopardize everything we've worked for. Meanwhile, in the celestial Concordat ship docked alongside the station, Zephyr faced their own diplomatic crisis. The Concordat's High Council had convened an emergency session to discuss the implications of their ambassador's unprecedented attachment to a human. Your actions are reckless, Ambassador. Council member Nebula's holographic projection flickered with disapproval, their skin pulsing angry red. You were sent to establish diplomatic relations, not to form personal entanglements with a lesser-developed species. Zephyr's skin rippled with indignation at the slight against humans. With respect, Council member, your assessment of humanity is outdated. They have achieved more in their brief existence than many species do in millennia. And Dr. Bennett is clouding your judgment, another council member interrupted. The stellar resonance you claim to have experienced with this human is impossible. Such bonds have only ever occurred between our own kind. But Zephyr stood firm, their three eyes blazing with conviction. The impossible happens every day in science. That's how progress is made. My connection with Olivia is real, and it could open new avenues of understanding between our peoples. Back on the station, Olivia threw herself into her work, trying to prove that her relationship with Zephyr wouldn't compromise her scientific objectivity. She made breakthrough after breakthrough in understanding the biological compatibility between humans and the celestial Concordat species, publishing papers that would revolutionize xenobiology. Yet the pressure continued to mount. Earth's governments demanded assurances that sensitive information wasn't being compromised. Religious leaders debated the spiritual implications of interspecies relationships. Scientific committees questioned the validity of her research, suggesting her findings were biased by her personal involvement with Zephyr. The situation came to a head when Dr. Harrison Walsh, Olivia's professional rival and the ethics committee's appointed overseer, arrived on the station. His first act was to demand access to all of Olivia's research data and personal communications with Zephyr. This isn't a witch hunt, Dr. Bennett, Walsh said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. We simply need to ensure that proper scientific protocols are being followed. Olivia felt her blood boil. My work speaks for itself. Every experiment is documented, every conclusion supported by data. My relationship with Ambassador Zephyr hasn't compromised anything. That's for the committee to decide, Walsh replied smoothly. And speaking of the ambassador, I'll need to interview them as well. We need to understand their motivation for this unusual attachment. The implication that Zephyr might have ulterior motives was the last straw. Olivia was preparing a scathing response when the station's alert system suddenly blared to life. Attention all personnel, Commander Rodriguez's voice came over the intercom. We've detected unusual activity from the Europa research bases. All senior staff report to the emergency briefing room immediately. When Olivia arrived at the briefing room, she found chaos. The Europa bases had detected massive energy signatures emerging from beneath the moon's icy surface. Energy signatures that matched the celestial Concordat's technology. Zephyr arrived moments later, their skin shifting through patterns of concern and recognition. Those signatures, they're from an ancient outpost of our people. We established research bases throughout this solar system millennia ago, before humanity had even developed written language. The revelation sent shockwaves through the room. Humanity hadn't discovered alien life on Europa. They had simply rediscovered it, and now that outpost was showing signs of reactivation. Why didn't your people tell us about this? Commander Rodriguez demanded. Because we needed to see how you would handle the discovery on your own, Zephyr explained, their skin pulsing with earnest blue light. It was a test, one that humanity passed by reaching Europa through their own ingenuity and treating the discoveries there with scientific rigor rather than exploitation. Dr. Walsh seized on this admission. So this entire first contact was orchestrated, including your relationship with Dr. Bennett. No. Zephyr's skin flashed with angry crimson. The stellar resonance between Olivia and me is genuine. It was as unexpected to my people as it was to yours. But perhaps it, too, is a sign that our species are ready for deeper connection. Olivia stepped forward, placing herself between Walsh and Zephyr. This is exactly why our relationship matters. We've proven that meaningful connections can exist across the gulf between species. Instead of treating this as a problem to be solved, we should see it as an opportunity to build understanding. Her words seemed to resonate with Commander Rodriguez. After a moment's consideration, he turned to Dr. Walsh. The Ethics Committee's concerns are noted, but Dr. Bennett's work has been exemplary. I see no reason to impede her research or her personal relationships. Walsh sputtered in protest, but the commander held up a hand to silence him. Furthermore, we have more pressing matters to attend to. If there's an ancient alien outpost activating beneath Europa's surface, we need our best people working together to understand it. Dr. Bennett, Ambassador Zephyr, I want you to lead the investigation. As the briefing room cleared out, Olivia felt Zephyr's hand slip into hers, their skin glowing with warm golden light. Your commander is wise, they murmured. He understands that progress often requires us to embrace the unexpected. Speaking of unexpected, Olivia replied with a small smile, how do you feel about studying ancient alien technology together? Zephyr's skin rippled with patterns of joy and excitement. I cannot think of anyone I would rather explore the unknown with, my dear Olivia. As they began planning their expedition to Europa, Olivia realized that their relationship had become something more than just a personal connection. It was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of what was possible when beings from different stars chose to see past their differences and find common ground. The diplomatic complications weren't over. They might never be over. But they had found something worth fighting for. And as Earth's sun cast its distant light through the station's windows, Olivia and Zephyr stood together, ready to face whatever challenges the universe had in store for them. The journey to Europa took 3 weeks in the celestial Concordat's advanced vessel, which moved through space with a grace that made Earth's best ships look clumsy by comparison. Olivia spent much of the time in the ship's observation deck, watching the stars streak by and marveling at how her life had changed in just a few short months. Zephyr found her there one evening, their skin glowing with the soft, intimate purple that Olivia had come to associate with their private moments together. You seem contemplative, my love. I'm thinking about how far we've come, she replied, making room for them on the observation couch. A year ago, I was studying bacterial samples in a lab on Earth. Now I'm heading to an ancient alien outpost with, she paused, smiling, with my alien partner. Partner, Zephyr repeated, their skin shimmering with pleasure at the word. You know, in my language, the closest translation would be soul voyager, one who travels the path of life beside you. The ship's artificial gravity shifted slightly as they began their approach to Europa. Through the observation window, the icy moon grew larger, its cracked surface reflecting Jupiter's distant light. The research team assembled in the ship's briefing room. Besides Olivia and Zephyr, there were 3 human scientists from the Europa base and 2 celestial Concordat specialists. Dr. Walsh had also insisted on coming along as an observer, much to Olivia's dismay. The energy signatures are emanating from approximately 2 kilometers beneath the surface, explained Dr. Samira Patel, the Europa base's chief geologist. We've detected a network of tunnels that appear to have been deliberately carved into the ice. Zephyr's skin rippled with patterns of recognition. Yes, our ancestors were fond of building their outposts within natural formations. The ice would have provided both protection and a sustainable energy source. The descent to Europa's surface was smooth, despite the moon's notorious storms. The Concordat ship easily compensated for the harsh conditions, landing near the main research base with precise control. As they suited up for the expedition, Olivia couldn't help but admire how Zephyr's environmental suits seemed to flow around their body like liquid metal. The suits are semi-organic, Zephyr explained, noticing her interest. They adapt to protect us while allowing our bioluminescence to function naturally. We've prepared one for you as well. Wearing the alien suit was an extraordinary experience. It felt like a second skin, responding to her movements with intuitive grace. More importantly, it would allow her to survive the extreme conditions they would face below Europa's surface. The descent into the ice began through an existing research shaft, but soon they diverged into older tunnels, ones that showed clear signs of artificial construction. The walls were too smooth, too precisely carved to be natural formations, and there were symbols etched into the ice, glowing faintly with the same bioluminescent properties Olivia had observed in her original samples. These are navigation markers, Zephyr explained, their skin pulsing with excitement that was visible even through the suit. They're telling us we're approaching something called the Genesis Chamber. Dr. Walsh pushed forward, his voice sharp over the comm system. And what exactly is a Genesis Chamber, Ambassador? It was a facility for biological research, Zephyr replied, their tone carefully neutral. Our ancestors were fascinated by the potential for life to evolve in extreme conditions. Europa would have been an ideal laboratory. As they descended deeper, the tunnels began to change. The ice gave way to structured corridors made of an unknown material that seemed to absorb and redirect light. The air temperature, though still well below freezing, was notably warmer than the surrounding ice. Finally, they reached a vast chamber that took everyone's breath away. The ceiling arched high above them, covered in swirling patterns of bioluminescence that matched the ones on Zephyr's skin. The walls were lined with what appeared to be stasis pods, most empty but some still containing shadowy forms. This is incredible, Olivia breathed, her scientific mind racing with the implications. Your people were studying the evolution of life here before humans had even mastered agriculture. Yes, Zephyr moved closer to one of the active stasis pods, their skin pulsing with complex patterns Olivia had never seen before. But something is wrong. These systems shouldn't still be active after all this time. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's ancient systems suddenly hummed to life. Holographic displays flickered into existence around them, showing streams of alien data that even Zephyr seemed to struggle to understand. The outpost's awakening wasn't natural, they announced after studying the displays. It was triggered by a fail-safe protocol. The facility detected a potential threat to its research subjects. What kind of threat? Commander Rodriguez's voice crackled over their comms from the surface. As if in answer, the chamber's sensors registered a massive movement in Europa's subsurface ocean. Something was rising from the depths, something large enough to register on their instruments. Life, Olivia whispered, looking at the readings. Advanced life. Your ancestors weren't just studying simple organisms. They were nurturing the evolution of an entire ecosystem. Zephyr's skin pulsed with urgent patterns. And now those life forms have evolved far beyond what was intended. The facility awakened to warn us. The implications hit everyone at once. Humanity had built bases on Europa without realizing they were sitting atop not just an alien research facility, but an entire alien-engineered ecosystem. The political and scientific ramifications would be enormous. Dr. Walsh was already backing toward the exit. This has to be contained. The public isn't ready for this level of revelation. "The public doesn't have a choice," Olivia replied firmly. "Whatever's down there is already aware of our presence. We need to focus on establishing communication, not hiding the truth." As if to emphasize her point, a low vibration rumbled through the chamber. In the distance, they could hear something moving through the subsurface ocean, something that had been waiting millennia to make first contact. Zephyr's hand found Olivia's, their suited fingers intertwining. Once again, it seems we find ourselves at the frontier of understanding between species. Olivia squeezed their hand, feeling the familiar spark of their connection, even through the suits. "Together. Always, my soul voyager," Zephyr replied, their skin glowing with determination and love. "Always." The creature that emerged from Europa's depths defied all expectations. It was massive, easily the size of a blue whale, but with a crystalline structure that seemed to bend light around it. Its body pulsed with patterns of bioluminescence remarkably similar to Zephyr's, suggesting an unexpected connection to the celestial Concordet's biological engineering. The Genesis chamber systems automatically initiated communication protocols, projecting a complex series of light patterns into the water beyond the facility's transparent barriers. The creature responded with its own displays, creating a hypnotic dance of light and color. "It's beautiful," Olivia breathed, recording everything with her suit's sensors. "And look at the complexity of those patterns. This isn't just bioluminescence for show. It's language." Zephyr's skin flickered with intense concentration as they studied the exchange. "The patterns, they're similar to an ancient form of our communication." The research facility wasn't just nurturing physical evolution, it was seeding cultural development as well. Dr. Walsh had retreated to what he considered a safe distance, but couldn't hide his scientific curiosity. "Are you saying your ancestors created this species?" "Not exactly," Zephyr replied, their skin rippling with thoughtful blues. "They created the conditions for life to evolve, then guided that evolution with carefully calculated interventions. But what that life became?" They gestured at the magnificent creature before them. "That was determined by Europa itself." Over the next few days, more of the creatures, which the team named Luminara, appeared around the facility. They proved to be not just intelligent, but highly social, with a complex culture built around their light-based communication. Olivia worked tirelessly with Zephyr to establish meaningful communication, drawing on both her xenobiology expertise and their deep understanding of light-based languages. The breakthrough came when they realized the Luminara didn't just communicate through patterns of light. They shared memories and emotions through them. "It's like a living library," Olivia explained during one of their reports back to the surface. "Each individual carries the collected experiences of their entire species, passed down through generations of light sharing." The Luminara shared with them the story of their evolution, how they had grown and developed in the warm waters beneath Europa's ice. Always aware of the sleeping facility that had sparked their existence, they had watched through the ice as humanity established their bases, choosing to remain hidden until they felt the time was right for contact. But not everyone was thrilled about the discovery. When news of the Luminara reached Earth, it sparked intense debate. Some saw them as evidence of alien interference in human affairs, demanding that all contact be cut off. Others wanted to exploit their advanced biological capabilities for human benefit. The Celestial Concordet's High Council was equally divided. Many felt the Luminara were failed experiments that should have been terminated millennia ago. Others saw them as proof of their ancestors' wisdom in fostering independent evolution. Through it all, Olivia and Zephyr found their relationship deepening as they worked to bridge the gap between three very different species. Their personal connection seemed to resonate with the Luminara, who were fascinated by the idea of two different species sharing such an intimate bond. One evening, as they watched a group of young Luminara playing in the waters beyond the facility, Zephyr shared something unexpected. "The Luminara have given us a name in their language," they said, their skin glowing with warm gold tones. "They call us the Bridged Souls." Olivia smiled, leaning against them. "It's fitting. We've made a habit of bridging worlds, haven't we?" "Indeed we have," Zephyr replied, their third eye focusing on her with tender intensity. And perhaps that's exactly what the universe needs right now. Their moment of peace was interrupted by an urgent alert from the surface. Several Earth governments were demanding immediate access to the Genesis chamber and the Luminara. There was talk of military intervention if their demands weren't met. They don't understand what they're dealing with, Dr. Walsh warned, showing an unexpected alliance with Olivia and Zephyr's position. The Luminara aren't just animals we can capture and study. They're a sovereign species with rights. Commander Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. We've got ships entering the Jupiter system. Multiple nations, all claiming authority over the discovery. Olivia looked at Zephyr, seeing her own determination reflected in their swirling eyes. They had worked too hard, come too far, to let fear and greed destroy this precious discovery. But as they prepared to face this new challenge, the Luminara themselves offered an unexpected solution. Through their light language, they revealed that the Genesis chamber was more than just a research facility. It was also a gateway. The revelation about the Genesis chamber's true nature changed everything. The facility wasn't just a laboratory. It was a node in an ancient network spanning multiple worlds, designed to foster the development of diverse life forms across the galaxy. As warships approached Europa, the Luminara activated systems within the chamber that had lain dormant for millennia. The facility hummed with new energy as ancient machinery awakened, projecting a massive holographic display that filled the chamber. It's a map, Zephyr breathed, their skin flickering with awe. A map of all the Genesis chambers throughout the galaxy. Dozens of worlds, dozens of species, all connected through this network. The display showed them something remarkable. Humanity wasn't the only species to have evolved alongside a Genesis chamber. Across the galaxy, other civilizations had developed in similar ways, guided by the subtle influence of these ancient facilities. Even more surprisingly, the celestial concordat themselves were revealed to be the product of one of the earliest Genesis chambers, created by an even more ancient species that had long since transcended physical form. We've come full circle, Olivia realized, watching as the holographic display showed the complex web of connections between worlds. Your ancestors were created just like the Luminara, and they chose to continue the cycle, seeding new life throughout the galaxy. The approaching warships suddenly seemed insignificant in the face of this cosmic revelation. Humanity wasn't just making first contact with one alien species, they were being invited to join a galactic community that had existed for millions of years. The Luminara, it turned out, had been waiting for this moment. Through their light language, they explained that they had reached a level of development that qualified them for full membership in this cosmic network, and they wanted humanity to join them. Dr. Walsh, who had become an unexpected ally, helped draft the message that would be sent to Earth's governments. This is bigger than national interests, he argued. This is about our species' place in the galaxy. The message was accompanied by data from the Genesis chamber, proof that humanity's rapid technological development had been subtly guided by the facility's influence, preparing them for this moment of cosmic awakening. As the truth spread across Earth, the warships received new orders. Instead of claiming control over the discovery, they were tasked with protecting it. The Genesis chamber became the site of unprecedented cooperation between nations, as humanity united in their desire to join the galactic community. The Celestial Concordat's High Council, faced with evidence of their own origins, voted to fully support the integration of both humanity and the Luminara into the network. Zephyr was praised for their role in bridging the gaps between species, their relationship with Olivia now seen as a symbol of the connections possible between different forms of life. 1 year after their initial discovery of the Genesis chamber, Olivia and Zephyr stood together in the facility, watching as representatives from Earth, the Celestial Concordat, and the Luminara gathered for a historic ceremony. The chamber glowed with the combined light of dozens of species, each contributing their own unique patterns to a symphony of bioluminescence. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Olivia asked, squeezing Zephyr's hand as they watched the celebration. Zephyr's skin rippled with joy and love. When I first felt the stellar resonance with you, I knew our connection would lead to something extraordinary. But this, they gestured at the gathering of species before them, this exceeds even my wildest dreams. The ceremony marked humanity's official joining of the galactic network, but it was also a celebration of love's power to transcend boundaries. Olivia and Zephyr's relationship had helped three very different species see past their differences and recognize their shared cosmic heritage. As the ceremony concluded, the Genesis Chamber's systems hummed with new energy. The ancient facility, awakened by love and understanding rather than fear, began to share its accumulated knowledge with all three species. Secrets of the universe, carefully gathered over millions of years, were now available to be explored together. Olivia looked up at Zephyr, their three eyes swirling with emotion, their skin glowing with the deep purple that she had come to associate with their most intimate moments. "So, my soul voyager, what's our next adventure?" Zephyr's response was to pull her close, their bioluminescence synchronizing with her heartbeat as it had that first night in her lab. "With you, my love, every moment is an adventure. We've helped bridge the gap between worlds. Now we get to explore them together." Above them, Jupiter filled Europa's sky, its vast storms a reminder of the cosmic forces that had brought them together. But in that moment, surrounded by the light of three species united in harmony, Olivia and Zephyr knew that the greatest force in the universe wasn't gravity or electromagnetic energy. It was love's power to transform, connect, and illuminate the darkness between stars. Their story would be told for generations across countless worlds, a reminder that the most important discoveries often come not from scientific instruments or ancient technology, but from having the courage to open one's heart to the unknown. In the end, their unexpected romance had changed not just their lives, but the course of cosmic history. And as they stood together in the Genesis Chamber, their love adding its own unique pattern to the tapestry of light around them, both knew that this wasn't an ending, but a beginning. The universe was vast, full of wonders waiting to be discovered, and they would explore it together. The human scientist and her alien love, forever bridging the space between stars.